I've had this YouTube channel since 2007, closing in on nearly 20 years of uploading content under my belt. Throughout that time though, my content creation has shown that I'm unlikely to remain dedicated to a single specific theme, making the one thing consistent about it being its ongoing identity crisis. And the sporadic nature of my uploading, along with not keeping myself tied to one particular subject, has hurt audience retention, making gaining and keeping subscribers a climb up a greased ladder with few rungs. But I'm eternally grateful and honored for those of you who are kind enough to give anything I upload the time of day, and for sticking along for as long as you have. I've showcased my parkour progress, a light smattering of skits, short-lived dabbling in game streaming, which I may or may not return to, and among all of them, the video that earned me the most views took the least amount of time to make. It was the lightning in a bottle moment of good timing, and a well-received iteration of a niche meme that I am thankful to have been a part of. Where it all began, though, overestimated higher hopes for success than managed, as I believed my cause for creating the channel would monopolize on an idea not yet explored. And that idea was probably better left unexplored. For the first 4 years of my channel, I would upload videos recapping the latest episodes of Dog the Bounty Hunter. Back then, my page went by the username doggone Update, named after the bail bonds business located in Hawaii where most of the episodes were filmed. The television series was popular for its time, but Dog and his family are, I would say, gradually being better known for making headlines with either embarrassing or tragic events that have been tarnishing whatever legacy they'd hope would have people recall the series to remember them by. My sorry dumbass at the time was convinced I struck gold with this idea. My word, it was awful. But I was enthusiastic enough to see where it would go, which wouldn't be far. The reason I chose Dog the Bounty Hunter was because of an earlier fascination with my favorite anime, Cowboy Bebop, where the three main characters, Spike, Faye, and Jet, all worked as galactic bounty hunters or cowboys, as they were often monikered. Wanting to one day chase dreams of becoming a bounty hunter myself, I was fooled into believing it would be just as glamorous as Cowboy Bebop made it out to be. Then Dog the Bounty Hunter airs on TV, and as entertaining as the show was, I realized, I don't want to be chasing these types of assholes. They weren't going after sophisticated space criminals and high-speed chase sequences through Ganymede. Just meth-addicted women beaters and petty bail jumpers. Fuck this, I'm mopping floors. So basically, the videos were summarized explanations of new episodes of the show that would air, and I would try to get them up on my channel within the week before the next upcoming episode debuted. It brought in subscribers in slow trickles, tiny crowds of dog fans, which wasn't really a huge community of loyalists to begin with. I mean, the show had many fans, but microscopic fractions of them were coming to YouTube to watch my awkward self poorly explain how the episodes went. The first 20 or so videos I uploaded were just black screens with the title of the episode shown and audio of my voice detailing the events in a condensed format. I figured later though, if I overcame my shyness about showing my face, it could open the door to make the videos more entertaining, which is how I eventually started to film them. When I changed the format to me standing in front of the camera, it did provide more creative freedom. It led to me making the videos more jokey, becoming more elaborate with bits and running gags, I guess. It certainly involved me making a complete fool of myself for the sake of content, but nothing like what is the standard for nuisance farming today. Eventually I was pretty much just shitting on Dog and his family throughout the videos while talking about each episode, and especially whichever fugitive they were going after if they were just an absolute clown of a human being. There were a number of times when I was even threatened, or at the very least confronted, by people in the comments claiming to be the fugitives from certain episodes, which I found perfectly hilarious. Nothing consequential ever resulted from insulting these assholes, just a bunch of posturing and air punching on their part. Fair to say, though, that the brunt of the damage done to any of those fugitives' image as an upstanding member of society was already covered in the episodes. One time, though, and this is by far the strangest thing that I think happened while making these videos, some dude was just relentlessly harassing me for a couple months and getting his taint ruptured over the jokes I was making about Dog the Bounty Hunter. And every time I blocked him, he would create another account and reappear with his antics. So one day he told me, hey, if you're not a coward, call my number and we'll see how tough you are. And actually left me their phone number to call. As the dumb 16-year-old I was, I easily gave in to the pressure from this anonymous fuckhead. I could feel the courageous fearlessness coursing through me with each button I pressed dialing the number. Who answered was some older gentleman, easily in his 50s or 60s, and also claiming to be a bondsman from somewhere in the Midwest, where specifically I can't recall. I only vaguely remember the context of the conversation, and he essentially just went on a soft-spoken rant about how local lawmakers were lobbying against bail bonds agencies in his area and how that was affecting business for him. It was so bizarre because, like, I couldn't have given less of a fuck. and I don't know what the ultimate purpose of him telling me that was. I don't know if he thought I was some, like, prominent figure in the bounty hunting community. I was just some dork making YouTube videos. He probably thought I was going to move the needle on whatever his cause was for him. But after the call, everything seemed to end cordially between me and this dude. And then when I went back to the latest channel he was using to carry out his odd harassment campaign against me, he had like a whole playlist of my recap videos favorited on the channel. From there, I never heard from the guy again, and he never left another comment. It was some Alfred Hitchcock fever dream shit. He certainly had an effective strategy to get his message heard, though. I'll admit that. I would later stop making the recap videos, though, because the series was being dropped by the network A&E, and there were some internal family drama within the dog pound that I guess made continuing the show difficult and pointless. Those issues were even touched on in the final few episodes of the show, though. So how else was I supposed to end this whole project of mine that I've embarked on? For the last episode of the series I recapped, I did the whole video in a Dog the Bounty Hunter Halloween costume, reaching the apex of cringe my channel would ever disgrace perfectly good eyes with. It was fun while it lasted, and served as a learning experience in teaching myself how to film and edit videos, if there's anything of value I can take away from that period of time. I would keep the videos viewable for a number of years after it was over, but one day, stuck at home during the pandemic, I had a much needed moment of clarity, and went through a slew of old uploads purging every bit of Dog the Bounty Hunter related material I had kept up. The show was long finished, the way I thought about things changed, as it did for many people during the COVID years, and the material had just not aged well. They got harder and harder to revisit for a quick laugh at myself, and before I even felt the sting of my own cringe factor, I found them too abominable to have enough pride in to show them to anyone, as like, hey, you might be interested to know that I single-handedly ran the top source for Dog the Bounty Hunter episode summaries. When God gives you self-awareness, for the love of all sanctity, become aware of it. I just couldn't see it as anything more than the clutter of failure piled high on my channel, out of place apart from everything else I'd filmed after that point. They weren't even worth making private and viewable only to me. Sometimes having memories of something are bad enough baggage. Fuck, I don't need to return to the wreckage to have to suffer the sight of it again. And I'd be damned if they started finally getting views showing up in someone's cringe compilation years down the line. Unbeknownst to the world, I did humanity a great service cleaning up the dog shit. Aside from that, Dwayne Chapman became sort of a caricature of the cartoon character he already sort of was, and much of the family was becoming infamous for dysfunction, then famous for the show itself. The guy somehow always manages to embarrass himself one way or another when he makes televised appearances these days, and has been caught displaying some pretty reprehensible behavior in the past. It was just something I no longer wanted to be associated with in any way. It was long overdue that I scrubbed the channel clean of the dog doo-doo, as it were, and put it behind me as an odd choice of a first step to finding a place on YouTube. To this day, my channel still maintains an appearance of a work in progress, and hopefully, however it evolves, will be of benefit to the channel, and by extension, to those of you who I'm honored are still sticking around for whatever's next. Thanks for listening.